The long-running row over all-lane running motorways and part of our region's motorway network has been reignited after a widow from Rotherham who's campaigning to have them scrapped took her fight to Westminster this week. Claire Mercer lost her husband Jason in an accident on a stretch of so-called smart motorway in South Yorkshire. Her calls for a hard shoulders to be reintroduced were raised by the Rotherham MP Sarah Champion in a debate that coincidentally came on the very same day a safety system failed across much of England's smart motorway network, with signs, signals and detection systems out of action for 2 hours.
We've only got one agenda, and that is to get the hard shoulder returned on every single motorway, and I'm not giving up until we do. I've got nowhere else to be, and this campaign has gathered, in 3.5 years, this campaign has gathered thousands and thousands of supporters.
They were put in for a reason, and unless people have a safety exit, I just think we're going to have more deaths on the motorways, and it chills me that the government are digging in about not returning the hard shoulder on smart motorways.
Sir Edward Lee, the entire network down, this detection system down for 2 hours. I mean, understandably, lots of drivers just don't feel safe when they're driving on these motorways.
Well, I could give the easy answer and say, bring back all the hard shoulders, as long as I'm prepared to accept more traffic jams and people being delayed. So I think it's a choice. I mean, I'm not an expert in this, but I would have thought that you should, in an ideal world with modern technology, have the kind of signage that could make smart motorways work. For instance, if anybody at any moment goes off the main road, that's immediately a signal to people coming behind. But I'm not an expert, I don't know the answer. But in all these things, there is no easy answer. All right, bring back all the hard shoulders, but you'll spend much more time sitting in a traffic jam.
Mm-hmm. Well, National Highways says that they have well-rehearsed procedures to deal with these issues when they arise, but lots of drivers won't feel that's enough, Dan Jarvis.
No, they won't. I mean, Claire Mercer and Sarah Champion have done a fantastic job in terms of raising the concerns that many of us have in South Yorkshire. It's really worrying that for that period that there wasn't the correct signage in place, and there needs to be a very thorough investigation to look at what happened and make sure that that doesn't happen again. I mean, I agree with Edward. You know, there's some difficult choices to make. It does seem that the government is taking a very long time in order to make these choices. I know that Louise Haigh, who of course is a Sheffield MP and is our Shadow Secretary of State, she thinks, and I think she's right about this, that the government do need to look at reinstating the hard shoulder. She's been consistent in that approach. But these are very significant concerns, and I think the government needs to look closely at them.
Well, the government's says it's spending £900 million on making smart motorways safer. There's this pause on the rollout of new smart motorways at the moment. So, Edward Lee, do you think that pause might be made permanent?
I think all the politics of this are very bad for the government. People having to stop on a motorway and putting their lives at risk. And I suspect the politics of this is that there'll be a pause.
Mm-hmm. And Dan Jarvis, just quickly, a new Labour government, if you were to be elected at the next election, would you pause this permanently, do you think?
So Louise Haigh has made that commitment. Motorways are dangerous places. We need to be moving heaven and earth to make them as safe as possible. Mm-hmm.